Hello friends, let's take a look at LINK. We're taking a look at LINK versus the dollar as well in just a second. This is the Bitcoin prices. What's going on just now? Well, we're kind of consolidating here. We've had a lower high come in as well. We've also had a higher low coming in. That's the consolidation sort of hallmarks as we look to. Right now then, not really looking for divergence on these oscillators down below, other than to say it looks like they're kind of going a little bit, like looking to reset just a little bit, so that's fair enough overall. And let's take the price action up onto the screen and analyze, what are we looking at here? If this Magnolia line here doesn't get broken, what is that line that's not being broken? Well, that's a 786 Fibonacci retracement. That's a common enough place for markets to turn around at. What else isn't being broken? Well, if we don't go above the blue lines here that we have, then we're not getting in any higher highs on the daily time frame, and that would be kind of bearish in a sense. That would be a lower high on this, and this would be our lower low, and I know that's quite grotesque, but that's what we'd be looking at. Yeah, but anyway, as we are consolidating here, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Well, it can actually be quite a good thing to consolidate at resistance. These things happen from time to time. Call it ascending triangle, call it symmetrical triangle, call it your gran if you like to. Doesn't really matter. You could take a measured move if you like to, for instance, and pop it up there and kind of just acknowledge. Let's say we go in and it doesn't, whatever. Who cares about the measured move? Really, we're just saying, is it potential off the back of this to give us enough rocket fuel to get up and set in a higher high? It is, it is, and then we could then kind of relax a little bit, let our hair down, and think about all of these downward side targets for re-upping and taking profits and everything else in the meantime. But as it stands, sort of the current profit taking target for people who are longing from down below kind of can remain here at this lower high area where we see that Fibonacci retracement line coming in at, and we can just kind of look towards whether or not we can see anything, panning out for us in terms of this divergence. So in the MACD here, between this high and this high, we have divergence. On the DMI, we have divergence. On the stochastics, it's class B and it's there and it's divergence, and on the RSI there's that divergence as well between these highs. So there's that bearish divergence coming in at the same time as when we're consolidating or at a lower high point of view. Am I saying that I am a bear? No, well, I don't really identify with either bears or bulls at any given time necessarily. I just kind of look to the FOMO free, greed free technicals of where we actually are and remove all the noise from my head. Overall, what we want to see happening in the longer term time frame, on the weekly time frame, which is what we've been kind of allows us to remain positive and bullish in this time on this coin while we're actually below this other line and consolidating. Happily enough, it would be if we were to able to close Sunday night in that 50,500 area. Then of course we're more than happy to say that we've got a weekly high on the go, which is good, because overall in the weekly trend, you can see that we've had this we've been trending towards upside for quite a while against Bitcoin, and that would be that story continuing on the way. Of course, you could then sort of say, hey, we could come all the way back down to 36,000 again, and that's a significant, massively tradable event, so I'm not a financial advisor, and that's financial advice, but do be aware of that. But you could remain bullish all the way down. You could remain bullish on an asset which has a solid 20% drop off in price. Now, overall, wouldn't like to see that happen overall, of course, because you'd have the 236 Fibonacci coming in here, for instance, at 47,000. I'd far rather see the price turn around there, or 47, 48,000, whatever it happens to be at the time, and then of course 45,000, where you've got other lines coming in at. Let's take a look at the dollar prices. See what's going on. Got a bit of muck on the chart here from drawings yesterday, and I think that we can see here that the chat from yesterday's, pardon me, panning out more or less. We've got profit taking lines in here that we've been looking at, 385, 375, all that's doing great. We're doing well. The prices are trending towards the upside. This Fibonacci retracement here that we've got drawn in body to body still remains where it is. No, it's wick to wick, sorry. Move it up body to body. It's better. So we can say, we want to see the prices remain above $3.40 just in terms of that, so that we don't get a 236 Fibonacci retracement and look down towards the 21 at 288 here for sort of perhaps a bounce area after that. Overall, though, currently you want to see the prices remain above 370 and look towards coming in here at the $4 areas in order to start setting in those higher highs again. We actually need to see the price go up to 450 to be confident about that sort of a thing, and you can see that there's a couple couple of 786 retracement points in there. You can see the prices turn around at those points, just like we're talking about over here on Bitcoin. You could see us coming up on the like we have up to 24-hour time frame, hitting off of that sort of Fibonacci retracement and thinking about things for a wee while. That would be kind of healthy overall in terms of the overall upward trend. But again, just like in the Bitcoin prices, we're seeing a bit of this divergence here, bearish divergence. Would we need to let the oscillators reset somewhat? Potentially. We have what we want to see happen, if there is any sort of resetting of them, is for this to remain uncrossed, coming up to May, where this price action over here will no longer be part of the 50 simple moving average, and we can see the and I can actually maybe hopefully see these things slope towards the upside as an organic overall upward move. And if you want to do things sooner than that, then I want to see these price areas be broken and maintained essentially as we look up. So sort of 430 as we look up towards the $5 area. If you want to do it, more rapid than that, but I'd be happy and content to wait, into the May time period to just have this or to operate organically. If this wants to just be a resetting of the oscillators down below, rather than a full-on issue for us to be aware of. Okay, thank you so much for tuning in. I massively appreciate it. I really appreciate anybody who shares these videos with their friends and all the rest of it. A friend of yours is a friend of mine. We want to see the prices remain above this area so we can get higher highs here on this chunk of price action here on the 24-hour USD prices, and that if we actually see the prices close below on the daily, below 375 for instance, then the consolidating could happen. I wouldn't be too surprised if we saw the prices go down to 345, but actually, seeing the prices close up above here, we could see them go down to that area again and just be a higher low, and be more content actually taking this as a easier to manage risk long, or wherever we sit in our subsequent lows, having actually achieved a higher high here in the meantime. If not, then I'd be more cautious about that, should that be the case, and perhaps even look towards that as a pivot for a scalping short. Who knows, perhaps down towards these areas to retest those moving averages. But in the meantime, the volume's diminishing overall. We've not really done anything spectacular. I do expect at some point to see an uptake in the volume yet again, as we saw back over here after this section of diminishing volume, and whether that goes either way, well, we can wait and see how it pans out, given those sort of price targets that we're looking at there in general. The 21 coming in at $3.25 is probably a sensible enough area to be sort of taken as a sort of early doors pivot point in the market, shoot for managing risk overall in terms of trend aspect of things. Yeah, thanks so much for tuning in. I'll catch you in the next episode.